check the hot sheets.
These are the hot sheets?
Best investigator reporting on the planet. Go ahead, read the New York Times if you want to. They get lucky sometimes. Thanks, Manny.
Cannot believe you're looking for tips in the supermarket tabloids.
Not looking for. Found.
All of a sudden, it's the fall season here in Washington, D.C., and soon it will be time to start looking back on what happened in 2019. For ufology, it's been a big year, especially following the not-so-subtle change in U.S. Navy policy regarding reportings of sightings. Now remember, the term they prefer is UAP, not UFO. That's unidentified aerial phenomenon for those of you not woke enough to be keeping up with the latest nomenclature. And while it may be a little early for a 2019 year in review, it is worth updating you on some of the more incredible sightings that have taken place this year, at least the ones we know about. Let's break this into 3 parts, and first we'll start with an ongoing saga of something referred to as snake-like UFOs. As we start the clips of these objects, keep a couple things in mind. We'll try to provide attribution where possible. For example, the clip you're seeing now was uploaded by Third Phase of Moon, a reliable online repository for this kind of video. The actual witnesses or the person who originally recorded this video are not noted. It is noted in one article that this sighting was in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest. Pay attention in this clip to the bright light this strange object suddenly begins to emit. Staying with the snake-like objects, here's a second clip, possibly the one that started this controversy, recorded in Italy. According to an interview with an American military service member that accompanied this clip, governments have been scrambling over these sightings. He made this assertion in the audio that actually accompanied the clip that was uploaded online, but I'm not sure that the person was identified. Then a third clip appeared a few weeks ago, sparking even more attention in the U.S. after this object was seen over the village of Clayville in central New York State. The stunning similarity to the object seen in Washington is hard to ignore. They're very, very similar clips, and I know that you don't have necessarily the reference points to be able to see. It's just blue sky and then the object in some of these cases, but again, the similarity is stunning. And finally, a fourth clip, not as clear but strange nonetheless, from the Mojave Desert in California that's been classified by some people as being similar to these other objects. Now, these snake-like objects have drawn a lot of attention in part because of the clarity of some of the video and the similarity between the sightings. The documented fact that these incidents are thousands of miles apart on different continents doesn't just leave open questions, but demands answers, if possible. Now, I wanted to break this into 3 parts because the snake UFOs ended up grouped together. That's sort of their own incident and subject at the moment, even though different parts and pieces keep appearing. But there are 2 other videos that deserve to be included in this segment. This video was uploaded by a YouTube user called Space Brett. And while we don't have enough time to include his commentary, allow me to briefly restate his story. Apparently he was recording video of birds in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, trying to follow a flock apparently, when he noticed a brief flash. Thinking little of it, he then went back later and discovered this incredible sight. Some kind of object appears and then disappears. Particularly fascinating is the brief moment where the camera seems to focus just enough to reveal detail. Space Brett insists he has done nothing to enhance this footage, and that his capturing it was an accident. Interestingly, a story like this, birds and oh I thought I saw something, may have been easy to dismiss years ago. But now, camera and video technology appears to be catching up, at least just enough for us to be catching glimpses of these things. It's a very impressive video. But I said 3 parts to this segment and would like to think that I saved the best one for last. So to close out our 2019 sightings update, this video was just released a few days ago, also on YouTube, from a gentleman named William Guy. Guy was traveling on a ferry across Pimlico Sound off the coast of North Carolina, on the opposite end of the state from our previous video. You can clearly see the sun setting, and then Guy pans left where there appears to be a small fleet or swarm of 14 glowing objects. We didn't upload the audio for this clip, but Guy summed it up nicely, saying, "Look, nothing in the sky at all." And then as he pans left, he adds, "Can anyone tell me what that is?" That may be the point, William. They, the governments around the world, may not know. They could be just as baffled as we are. Regarding the last sighting, the last piece of video there, I've spent considerable time in the Outer Banks, and to put it mildly, there's frequent military activity in the area. You can hear and sometimes see jets every single day. Do they know what it was? We'll try to find out. And finally, one last other note. Each video that we just reviewed here originated, of course, with the person who shot it, whether they were in New York or California or Italy. Most of those clips end up on YouTube. But it seemed like every time we followed one of those leads, we intersected with the same source, the UK Daily Star. In this segment, all of the stories that we've covered were found there. We're trying to contact the Daily Star to find out more about their interest in this subject and perhaps to get a comment as to why they think the American press is so reluctant to cover any of this. And really that brings us to our last point. Where is the American media on any of this, on this subject? To borrow a phrase from the author of the New York Times bestseller, Unfreedom of the Press, they're nowhere. Have you seen any of the clips that we just showed? We'll return with more.